Hello art friends, welcome back to the art room. This week we're going to be making a leaf relief. We're going to be using leaves to make a relief in artwork. A relief is a fancy term that means to raise. So usually this is used in terms with a sculpture, which remember is something three-dimensional. We're going to be using paper, but we're going to be putting a leaf under our paper. We're going to be rubbing the top of our paper and we're going to be raising the pattern, the texture from the leaf onto our paper. If you did the texture lesson with me, we went around on a texture hunt. We used our paper and our crayon and we found textures in our environment. We're going to be using that same technique to make our relief picture this week, but we're going to be adding to it. We're going to be doing something a little different with us. So here's the supplies that you need. Sheet of paper and crayons. We'll collect some leaves. And if you have watercolor, this would be another fun project to use it on. Grab your supplies. Actually, let me tell you about the leaf first, because you'll want to go grab some leaves too. This is a small palm branch. You might have a pine tree in your yard, which would have something similar, a lot of long needles if it were a pine branch around. That would be a fun thing to grab. I have some leaves here that I found on different trees. Leaves are falling right now, so maybe you can find some leaves on the ground somewhere. I also found this in my garden. This is actually from a tomato plant and it has such great texture on the back. So if you have permission, maybe even look through the garden. Some of the herbs that are still growing right now would be great. Grass is wonderful. If you have grass in your yard, even some of those really long stalks of grass, go out with an adult's permission and collect 4 or 5 different types of leaves or plants, and then meet me back here with your supplies. All right, let's get started. This week you can have your paper either direction. You can have it horizontal or vertical, up to you. Go ahead and grab the different leaves that you found and choose the largest. Let's start with our largest. So this is definitely my largest. We're going to place this on our surface, whatever table, wherever you happen to be, and we're going to put our paper over it. We can't see it anymore, but we can feel it underneath there, right? We know where it is. Choose a color. I wanted to show you this really quick. This is one that I did where I used all sorts of different colors. Notice I let them overlap, and I chose different colors for different sections. I actually used a lot of cool colors and one warm color. We talked about that in our lesson last week. You could also choose one color and do the whole picture, all of your rubbings in one color. I did black here. I've done it with navy blue, and that was really pretty too. And then I went back, the color was added with watercolor, but you could do the whole thing in just solid color too. Today, for our demonstration, I'm going to be using color. And if you're like me, your crayons have probably gotten a little worn down at this point in the school year because we've been using them so much. So I like to peel back just a little bit more of the wrapping, because if you remember from our texture lesson, you don't want to hold it straight up and down like this, right? To do a relief or a rubbing, you want to hold it on its side. So you can lay your crayon down and pinch it with your fingers. I tip mine just a little, and we're just going to start rubbing gently over the top of our leaf that we have behind there. If you're doing this and all you're getting are really dark lines, it's because you're probably holding your crayon up and down. Make sure that you hold it to the side. And look, we can see it coming through. I see the relief or the rise of these leaves coming up on my paper. So cool. And once I've gone one direction and kind of gotten the whole thing on my paper, I can go a different direction. I can switch the way I'm going, and I can even start to see the little lines in the leaves now. So I went side to side, and now I'm going up and down over the same parts of my picture, just getting a little bit more of that texture through on my picture. We're going to be thinking about composition today. That's a fancy word for how we put our artwork together. Where we place things, what colors we choose to use. So now that we've done this big one, let's choose another, your next biggest. So this would be mine, that would be my next biggest. I'll put these over here so we can see them. So this was my largest, this is kind of my middle, and then I have some small. So I'm going to choose my middle. I'm going to fill up this space over here next. So think about where you would like for your texture and your pattern and your color to go. If you put it right on top of there, that could be really neat. But is it the best composition? I can't really see them. I think beside would be very nice, and then I can see both of them. So remember, the leaf is hiding under the paper. Your paper goes on top, but you can feel it. You know where it is. I'm going to choose a different color this time. And again, I'm going to start by going side to side. This leaf is bumpy. It's going to have more relief to it. It has more rise to it. So I have to hold my paper with this hand so it doesn't shift around too much. If you have somebody around, you could take turns helping each other hold your paper. Sometimes that helps. So I've gone side to side. Now I'm going to go up and down. And I get just a little bit more relief or rise and texture from the leaf. Oh, I can start to see the little veins in the leaf coming through. All right, I've done my largest leaf. I've done my medium-sized leaf. All right, I'm going to choose a small leaf next. I'm going to try this. This was my tomato plant leaf. So now I'm going to think again, where would I like to put this? I feel like this empty space right here is saying, I need something here. So I'm going to plan to put it somewhere right here. So I'm looking at it on top of my paper, but I remember I have to put it under my paper. I can feel that it's right here. I'm going to let it overlap just a little. And I'm going to choose, remember we're holding our crayons on the side, not up and down, but on the side. Oh, that looks so cool. I bet you guys are going to find some really neat textures in your artwork as well. With this in mind, I'm just going to keep planning and repeating what I'm doing. So I really like this one, so I might make another one right here. And then I'm going to start just adding in until my whole paper is covered. All right, here we go. I'll meet you back at the end. Work on your paper, I'll work on mine, and then let's talk again when we're finished with this part. All right, I feel like my picture's pretty full. And this could be it. This could be your drawing for today. Think about how you've added different leaves going different directions. You've thought about where you wanted to place them in your composition and what color you think would look good. If you see any spots in your picture, now that you're finished, step back and go, is there any spot that looks empty? Is there any place that looks like I need a little bit more? I almost in mind think up here, I could use a little more. This is me deciding my composition, how I want my artwork to go together. I think I would choose maybe my longer leaf. I'm going to add it to the corner up here and overlap it. And I think I'll bring a little bit of this blue color over here. I'm thinking about my composition. I'm thinking about what looks interesting to me. And then I'm adding what I need to my picture. Yeah, I think that added a little bit more to my picture. All right, this could be the end of your artwork. You could be done right now. It looks fabulous, I'm sure. If you have water and you would like to do this, you could watercolor. Here's a couple of ideas. Maybe you tried this on the pumpkins. It's called an oil resist, where you put the watercolor over the top. And because of the oil and the crayons, the water won't stick to where the crayon is. It'll just fill in all the little holes. Here's what I mean by that. Let me grab just a little bit of water. If I have a dark leaf, then I think it's really fun to add a light color on top. So I'm just going to simply watercolor over the top of my leaf with this brighter color. Gives it a nice contrast. And maybe I decide that I'm only going to watercolor this one leaf in. Maybe I decide I want to watercolor my whole picture. This one I watercolored the whole picture. And this one I only watercolored a few in, and I used more than one color on them. Here's another one where I watercolored a little. And this one, I left just my crayon. You have so many options today with how you want to finish up your project. However you do it, it's your decision as the artist. That's such a fun part of getting to do this project together. I hope you guys had a good time with it, with your leaf relief. We know that relief means that it rises up off our paper. In this case, the texture of the leaf, we rubbed over it and it rose up on our paper. We decided where we were going to place things in our composition and what colors we were going to use to make our work of art. Nice job. I hope you guys have a wonderful break next week, and I'll see you back after break with another art lesson.